Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is the Red Horde. Today we're supposed to be looking at our round of 16 draw, as well as watching the Bolton and Wigan game. I am struggling here, trying to get some stuff going. One moment. I'm looking for help from the Red Horde to fill me in on what's going on. The draw, I cannot get it without paying for it. Um, Trying my best, and then I started having problems paying for it. And I'm also struggling getting the Bolton Wigan game, so I'm not even trying to get that up and going. Shaun, as we can all expect, did not make it, even though he set me up to watch this with you guys. So, at least for the draw, um, does anybody know of a free site in the chat? Give me a second here. I'm trying to break out the chat from you guys. Hey there, Mertlin. How you doing? Oh, there's the man. He is showing up just in the nick of time to save me. Yeah, Shaun is in the background, guys. Craziness just setting up here. Let's see. There we go. We are live, Shaun. I do not have you on screen, so don't worry about that. I am struggling. I can't get the game on. Yeah, I got the all the productions up, and I got the scoreboard and all that ready to go. It's just I won't be able to see the game, so it'll be all on you, which not that big of a deal. But hey, WG, what's up? WG, did the draw already happen? The struggles of waking up at the crack of dawn, guys. Okay. Oh wow, look at that, Jared. That wait until you see this jacket, guys. Woo! You
You
are
have to
live.
tell me when I'm live. Am I live? Am I going? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It is too early in the morning, let's be honest. I made it, and I don't know a damn thing. And well, is that outside of the norm? I guess is the question for everybody. So don't mind me as I'm getting set up in the background. 3 hours. I just decided, you know what? I'm going to roll into the exact same thing I was wearing to the Christmas party last night because this thing only comes out of the closet once a year. And it's either this one or I do have one that's at the in-laws in England. I've taken it to the pub on the holidays. So if you don't know why you're here, Wigan and Bolton, the derby, starting early to make sure that there's no controversy. The game's almost about to get started. We're going to end up with Wigan in the black and gold, a different color combination than we're used to, going from right to left on the screen, Bolton from left to right. In Bolton, we're underway. And I'm going to, while this is all ticking around, get myself, or try, to get all set up. This, if you haven't been watching along and wondering why there's so many early kickoffs sometimes, part of it is for the purposes of TV, already bite into it in hard tackle, and the referee going to be challenged to get control. He's going to go have a stiff talk to Mr. Charles. Somebody trigger, is that an audio trigger in the background?
Yeah, I'll set it up. Here you go.
I'm hearing things. Mr. Charles already getting a talking to the striker for Bolton, tough in a tackle. And the big thing I wanted to get was to figure out who the draw was, and I still don't know, and I'm going to find out in advance and maybe do that before. And that was the whole goal. And then I found out they don't really stream it. So those of you who are in the UK watching on Sky probably already have awareness and can spoil it before I
Port Vale away, says Ruth.
Port Vale away. That was my second option. Well, of the options available, probably would have been 4 if you're counting home or away. But if you were looking at the teams that were available to you, Chesterfield, Lincoln City, Bolton was one of them. Rotherham, the winner of Blackpool and Aston Villa U21s. I'm missing somebody. An attempt there. They were probably second. I wanted Chesterfield just because it would have put a little bit more stick into it. But if you were looking for a game that you might be able to handle, we've had Port Vale recently, and I think that's a decent opportunity compared to what was available, and maybe the push to Wembley continues, and that would be a lot of fun. If you've never been here and you might be a Bolton Wanderers fan or a Wigan fan, first off, I hope you guys are peaceful to each other in the chat. We're Wrexham fans, and I wanted to see who they got. I wanted to see if I could wake up in the morning. Maybe I'm a little bit sadistic. And so, that's where we're at. And I'm trying to bring up the FOT Mob stats, get everything all set up for the day. Tickle and Baxter in goal. Nothing. Adebayo, McAtee, the same numbers. Matete, Osei Tutu, the same familiar people, at least for Bolton. Looks like they've almost had no changes from when we played them. And Shaun, who I've been impressed with in the games we've watched previously on the left-hand side. Here, nothing in the first 2 minutes, 40 seconds, just back and forth with the entry there from Thomas. Gets stabbed and just cleared away. The crowd is into this one. Like every little, there's insignificant moments, and there is disbelief and look on goalkeepers' faces as why am I being challenged while I'm running out of the box, running down the box with the ball. The other thing I need to bring up the chat. What I really need is also go get a coffee. But how am I going to go and do that until the half? It's sitting down there all by itself, lonely. Man, that suit is too much. Northern, I think as far as Port Vale's close enough, right? So you're going to get a crowd out to it. So those who are interested in taking in the game are going to be able to get a chance to take it in. Unlike the EFL and the trophy getting a big draw, it's not going to happen in the EFL trophy because the biggest squads that you're going to get are the teams that we're already playing. And so for me, I want easiest path to Wembley in this one. I'm not looking for a big day out like you are in the FA Cup or that you would accept in the FA Cup. You want is the most winnable games you can get. And thanks, Mertlin. I would like to have had a home game, but if you're going to go away, if you're to choose out of the 7 teams that were available, that was the one to get, I suggest. And that's not to be disrespectful to Port Vale. I'm just suggesting that they're not on the level of Bolton and Rotherham, which is tough. And we've had a good record with them in the past. Mertlin's with me, collected in the back. I just got to go and check something. And there we go. Man, they're getting applause for any physical contact that a Bolton player kind of initiates, whether that be in a tackle or whether that be in blocking somebody out to let the ball go out, whatever it may be. As civic for Wigan, the whistles are going on. It's a raucous crowd. 12:30 in the morning. I wonder if they feel like they got started too early, like I did. Woo-wee. 10 yards further down, that's going to be Civic again taking the ball, trying to get it in the throw in the Nat Lofthouse stand. It's a full house. You can see that. The crowd looked a little empty to start, but in the last 2 minutes of the game, it's filled up. The late arrivals. Is there not a rule against that? But I imagine maybe there was some extra shepherding of fans into this one. Baxter with it. As far as gameplay, nothing much in it. Just playing the ball around. Jones for Bolton over on the right-hand side. The press is on from Wigan. And we haven't seen this Asgard kid. Thilo Asgard, 22 years of age, and he's their leading scorer. I believe he's got 5 on the season. And so number 10 in black if you're watching. I'm trying to remember. Did we watch Wigan? Oh, that went out.
So, no.
I don't think we have that yet either. We've seen Bolton enough. I'm feeling like I know them probably better. I think this is the 3rd game we've done as a neutral. I'm just heading around the Asgard with a little tight push on Matete goes down and it's played over to the left-hand side. It's busy work with no control at the moment. Is Bolton nice little skip around the first man, Shaun. You know what? Every touch he's had, not every touch he's had, every game I've seen, he's done something. And if he loses the ball there and Wigan an opportunity to come down on the right-hand side, Smith with it, approaching 18-yard box, has Asgard on the run. It's into the box. Opportunity. Oh, and it goes, bounces through two people. If you were Wigan, you're saying to yourself, how does that not go in? And you've got a man down and he's commit himself. I think he might have stretched himself into an injury. Yikes. The chat is quiet. I don't want to waste my energy, but that's hard. It's hard when you hear in the crowd as excited as they are, and I don't have it. Brendan, you're in the background. You tell me what your thoughts are on. Hold on, I want to see this reaction here. Civic gets it across. Oh man, Taylor misses it over on the left-hand side, and so does Thomas. And then Thomas looks at Taylor like, "Why did you miss that?" And Taylor's looking at Thomas doing the Spider-Man meme. Why did you miss it? You both missed it, but it literally skipped in between them. Neither of them went for it, and they weren't interfering with each other. Oh, a foul against Bolton. The ball gets bounced and thrown against the ground. The lino calls it. The ref is under control, and he's showing a yellow card to Johnston, number 6 for Bolton. There are words, and it's going to be a free kick for Wigan on the right-hand side. Are we taking, Brendan, a preference for a Wigan win here?
Definitely.
Because I don't think Wigan's really getting back, and so the question, if you believe that, I guess you always say go draws, and we want the highest loss of points as possible. But I think in this one, we don't. Up early, dude. I went to bed at like 1:15, 1:30. Christmas parties. Oh, and I got called out for my Wrexham thing in the Christmas. I don't know if you call it a carol, the Christmas poem that was done this year. Left-footed in swinger from the 18-yard box, right against goal for Wigan. It's into the area and easily headed away there by Santos, the big center back. Yeah, Christmas is coming. The YouTube channel got called out, and they said all of my viewers are only my friends, which is true, but they're new friends. Thomas nicking the ball. Wigan they got some pep in this one towards the goal line, and push, challenge, push, scramble. He lost control of the ball, and it's going to go for a goal kick, I believe, as Thomas picks himself up from the deck. and runs it back. Jones in the tackle, and oof. There's contact in that tackle, but the ref says play on. I like that. Add a little bit more fuel to the fire. I remember listening to a Bolton podcast early on in the season and trying to just get a sense of who's around there, and they talked about Wigan and that it doesn't matter how well Bolton is. Another giveaway by Bolton. Santos just kicks it over to Johnston and he loses touch. They get it in quick. I'll come back to that story as they're pressing again before now they've kicked it a little bit sloppy, had to come all the way back, and they'll get a throw in at the halfway line. And they said, oh, they gave it to, they said it's a Wigan giveaway. They've given it to Bolton. The fans are up on their feet. Like just because an official was being screamed at by a player, the fans all rise. Fascinating stuff watching this. It's not the best quality of play on the pitch, and it's almost like if you've watched ice hockey and you've seen a kid playing peewee or what was peewee hockey, U13, U15, when they start body contact and they're afraid of touching the ball or the puck because they're afraid they're going to get obliterated or hit or anything. Everyone's jittery here. It's like they're afraid of what's going to happen. It's on their foot. Nobody's really held it and tried to push forward. It's on their foot. It's off the foot. It's on the foot. It's off the foot. It's for the first time I say that. And that was Osei Tutu, who went on a run and got fouled by Thomas. But they said, going back to the story, Wigan, even when they're low on the table, always in these derbies tend to, and their perception was, have the advantage in the matches during the derby. That Bolton frequently are higher than them in the standings, they say, but never when they play each other. So it could be. Hoo-wah. Is Brendan still struggling? Are you going to be bringing that up in the background, do you think, or are you leaving it? Just, I'm fine with it. I was just wondering if I'm going to have a chance to run for coffee before the half.
I think you're kind of stuck, although you could always dip out for a second. I mean, other streamers do it all the time, and we're doing it in 5 hours. So
I need me my coffee, and I need my...
Slip out. People can wait a couple minutes. I can talk to the chat while you're gone.
You take care of that. I will be a minute from. All right, I'm out. We are back.
Let me see what I can. I will transition to the scoreboard. See what they have for stats so far. It's pretty much nothing's going to be in the stats here, but pretty even on possession. Nothing really going on. Yep, and W&G bringing up some other scores. If you haven't already, Leighton Orient and Burton is 0-0, I believe, right? W&G. Fought mob stats, no shots, nothing happening. Although they're fouling each other, 3 fouls. Accurate passes are 72% for Bolton and 28 for Wigan. Yeah. Not much else going on. No one dazzling out there. Let's look at the table while Shaun's away. Those are the only games going on right now. Bolton right now in 7th with 31 points. They're tied with Reading for the last spot in the playoffs. So Reading has Blackpool today. So 3 points could get them ahead of Stockport if Stockport was to lose to Stevenage today, which is possible. It's at Stevenage, good defense. If Stockport doesn't show up and play well, they can easily get beat by Stockport at home. So yeah, they could jump all the way up to 34, which would put them in 5th place behind Huddersfield. what are the other games today that we'll be looking at? Huddersfield, Lincoln, that's a possibility, right? Huddersfield is at home. We want them to lose, but Lincoln's capable of doing that. I'm not. I mean, Shrewsbury has surprised a couple of teams this year. They are going to be at home, but Wickham is high flying right now. Not likely, right? Exeter and Barnsley. Barnsley in 8th, Exeter in 11th. You'd like those teams to beat up on each other. There was a team that I think has the potential to last longer and be into the playoffs and everything. It would be Barnsley more than Exeter, so maybe we want a loss there. Charlton and
almost walked into a goal on that one.
Oh, really?
Opportunity from across. Cibic gets it. Header just misses the far post and a roller. I think he'd probably be disappointed. It was headed back into the box, and Cibic just knocks it. He probably should have had one there. Missed connection. It has been Wigan early. Am I hearing you, Brendan, or can you?
I'm not. I just wasn't talking. I stopped.
I've lost my headset. Of course, when I leave, I bump something and everything goes south. That would be woefully disappointing. We'll worry about that at the half. I'm just not going to be able to hear you if there's something going on.
No, I think we're good.
All right, we're back. Technical difficulties. Nathan Baxter, long kick down. Welcome back, everybody. If you haven't been here and you haven't seen, it's Salford goal disallowed, up 2-0. W&G working early all across. There's got to be, about a half dozen games, I imagine, across the things. What was the question here? You think Lee sits today? I don't think he'll be rested. He'll be. I think no game. Asgard just did a turn there, a nice little one on Matete, and he's forward 3-on-2. Santos trying to go over, opportunity, puts the foot down towards the left-footed kick, and scores. Wigan up 1-0 on what was a mishit and a horrible attempt at Baxter. You want to talk about goalkeeping, and when you sit there and you say, I think that goal was a safeable one, so, he did what he had to do, and you can't really compliment him. This one was a save. And trouble for celebrating too much. Baxter. That guy even said Baxter didn't look like he could do anything about it. Are you kidding me? This looked like the slowest roller into the far left box, unless it took like a massive deflection that was impossible to get to. But he muffed it. Oh, yeah, it was right there for him. From the Wrexham perspective, having seen saves that were made, that's one that should have been collected. It went through the legs of Johnston. And it was a missed strike through the legs, and so it kind of came down as a half attempt, left-footed, weak little slow roller that just found its way in and up early.
So
Wanderers are searching.
Fought mob
as the Lactic celebrate.
You can't hear me. You still
I like it a lot. Because Bolton sitting in 7th.
Yeah.
Game in hand over Wrexham. An opportunity could get to 34 points. A yellow card against Smith. The referee is dishing out the yellow cards like they're candy. I am curious. Is that like the 4th one? 3rd one. Santos and Johnston have for them, and yeah, that was just Smith running around, desperate. Had a player get past him, grabbed him by the shoulders, and pulled him down just outside the box. Not down, restricted him, held him back. Who is Smurfit Westrock for those of you in the UK, the advertisers? Mullen has to start, all right? At Cambridge United, he has to start. So who sits? Smith, Dobson, and Lee, Rathbone on that side. I guess I can see what you say. Anyway, left-footed Bolton Wanderers opportunity far post and over everybody, and the goalkeeper just collides into the forward. Tickle. Didn't collect the ball, instead takes the shoulder and it bumps into a Bolton player. And I like that sort of say. Take the player, not the man. Take the player, not the man, not the puck. What am I talking about? I need I had to replay that one in my own head. Asgard gets tripped up, and every play McAtee's sitting there screaming at the official. That's just a foul, nothing in it, but that was the right call. It was a pretty clear he got into the Norwegian. Merlin says, I think Cannon sits and Rathbone gets to play. I think Rathbone on form right now compared to Cannon gets Rathbone in. I can't hear Brendan if he's going in the background. Let me just see if it's a headset problem. We'll see if that works, Brent. In the background.
1, 2, 3.
No, bugger me. Oh, and I know the video. It's my headset.
Can you hear me?
2-0. Should have been 2-0. Crossover towards Taylor in the box. The goal scorer gets a second opportunity here. Just going to have a look at it. Thomas has it. Cross in. Taylor's there. And it just, I think it was touched right beforehand. No, it wasn't. I thought that Santos touched it and made it difficult for Taylor to adjust. No time to react sort of thing. But instead, it actually missed Santos just over top of his head. And I think that Taylor's probably going to be regretting that he should have had that one. Should have had that one. The one broadcasters frustrated in the background. I like it. We'll fix that at the half. That's what we'll do. Bolton, if I'm a Wanderers fan, I'm getting frustrated because they both in the midfield and up front, just as they're not paying attention. It's like I said, they're scared to have the ball. It's just every time it gets on their foot, they're pushing it around. Preston up on Leeds. I'm going to want to take a look at the draw as well and see who the other teams ended up getting in the EFL trophy. If you missed it, we've got Port Vale away. Middle of January, rescheduling of games. The Shrewsbury Derby is going to be around there, as Bolton's going to get another opportunity here to advance things forward. McAtee with it, bouncing around over to the right-hand side. Bolton with an opportunity to switch far over to Shaun inside the area. First time they've come for a sniff. Shaun with a shot. Another one of those slow, didn't make good contact and going roller towards it, but this time Tickle says, I can get low to the ground and go to my side and stop a simple shot. Stays 1-0. So the draw. Oh, they haven't put it up yet. On Wiki, anyway. Thomas, the Latex over on the side all by himself, plays it back. Miss pass. Matete now. Bolton going the other way. Thomas draws it back. That's Johnson up to Shaun. When I'm able to hear Brendan, one of the things I'm going to say, and I know I don't think he can see him now, But as far as opposing players that we've seen, obviously Louis Barry, different class. But as far as top players we've seen around the league, I'm putting Shaun at the top of near the top of my list, because it's been 3-4 that I've consistently seen him. And so I'm curious what his thoughts are, if he has like one or two players that are around the league that he was impressed in the games that he's seen. Matete, we could say Sweeney, and that counts for two center backs, right? That we've seen recently. Whoa. Amazing tackle. Thomas strips it. Thomas strips the ball, runs forward. Matete, you see battles in the midfield where you see somebody who just tends to have a little bit of extra spunk, pluck, whatever you want to call it. Thomas has that, and as him in the battle with Matete, Thomas has been schooling him defensively and offensively, and that was another example. He plucked the ball, ran away, got around him, and that's a yellow. A turnover, and just reached out and full grab the back. Does Sessignon? McAtee runs up, picks his pocket from behind, goes the other way with it on the turn, and Sessignon, after getting his pocket picked, just reaches back and grabs the number 5 and pulls it down. And the yellow cards, I think, we're up to 4. A quarter of the way through the match, and we're up to 4 yellows already. Smith and Sessignon for Wigan, Santos and Johnston on the other side. Are we going to have two teams playing 10-on-10 by 10v10 by the end of it? Santos late trying to get it underway, so somebody comes back and takes the pass because they don't trust him to get it started. Matete comes in and takes it. They're 45 yards away from goal, and Santos can't get the pass away, I guess. Needs a midfielder to come and help him. That was awkward. McAtee. Bringing up the chat. Tranmere, Harrogate 1-1. Matty James and Dobson. Isn't it funny, Northern? And then Matete. Maybe he's just had a bad day. Is he just giving the ball up again to Taylor? Like, that's 2 bad passes. Asgard open, left-hand side. Defender is able to come back inside the box. He's going to hold it up. It's domination here by Wigan. Like, I'm going after Matete the whole time, and if I'm the coach, I don't know, like, yank him early. He didn't wake up for this one. Christmas party late at night. Who knows? But yikes. And that's Tutu. Goes for the tackle, knocks the ball out, and now he's saying he hurt himself on the grass. So he's waiting. Whoa. And while there's an injury thing, I'm going to keep working on this thing and seeing why. Oh, and I gotcha. That worked.
You can hear me now?
I can hear you now. Were you able to find the game?
No.
Long ball, Tozer bomb, putting Santos easily heads it away. You are missing. I'm trying to think of a game where I've seen a player play so poorly. That Lincoln game, the ginger kid, Woods.
Yeah.
He played so bad he was almost a detriment to the team. Like, with the number of giveaways he had, that's the game that Matete is having. I'm looking at the FOTMob stats. They have him at 6.1. There's 3 players worse than him on the squad. But when I see Thomas 7.1, Asgard 7.1, Taylor 7.5, and they're all on that left side taking him on, you just seem just a continued possession. Like, the Latics still have it down and sniffing around the box, and Bolton's just able to thump it down and get a throw in 40 yards away and relieve some pressure. But it has been all Wigan all the time, and the momentum meters demonstrates exactly that. So while you were just before you yelled out the score, I was looking at the FOTMob table, and it changed, and I knew a goal happened. Yeah.
Wigan was tied for 19th. The 19th and 20th spots were being held by Wigan and Rotherham, just outside the relegation, and they scored, and now Wigan's in 12th.
Crazy, right?
Yeah, from the 12th spot to the 20th is now 3 points. 20 to 23. There's 9 teams. So
yeah,
and Crawley's one behind in relegation at 19 points. So like it's ridiculous.
And Cambridge United has 4 points in their last games with points in 4 of their last 5, and crawling themselves out of the basement into a place where they are starting to push. It's nervy at the bottom.
The table within 3 points of each other.
Yeah, it makes the Christmas run 4 games in quick succession are going to be a lot more fun to get through. This one, the crowd's gotten less involved. The game's starting to look more like a game, less like people getting nervous. It's still Wigan all the time. And I may turn my fan on in this room. Holy. Or go change outfits at some point. One too many gin cocktails last night. Yeah, Dobson and James locked in. So who would have thought that at the start of the season, that not a single midfielder that we've Dobson came in, I guess, to the season, but not a starter from last year, not a midfielder from last year would be like the locked in person on that in the Wrexham midfield. Shaun saying he got elbowed from the referee, not getting much attention from that one. And now he's getting a talking to from the referee for talking to him. Stop it. The scolding from the referee. Salford. Now they've scored their second one. We hope. Do we hope? It's weird. There's a lot of. If I was a Notts fan, I'd hate it. But there's almost like a sympathetic support for Notts County and Wrexham fans, I find sometimes. But I'm not one of them. Long may they suffer. Thomas again, left-hand side, gets the cross in, and Santos going to get that. Matete. That was Matete with the diving stab. So he did something right. Actually, when I saw the leap, I was like, is this potentially an own goal? But it misses by 2 feet to the left of the net on the cross from Thomas. That doesn't get to Asgard. Matete, that was a necessary stop. And I got to give him credit there. Nothing on the corner, except it's back in the box. Smith, they say offside. The shot comes in anyway. Now I remember what I was doing. I want to turn my fan on, and I can do it from here. Much better. What is going on with my life in the sense that I leave a Christmas party early with the food and the beverages and the dancing to start. Well, I did the food and the beverage, but the dancing to start because I need to get up. I feel the need to get up and find out what's going on with Wrexham in an EFL trophy match. All the stuff that wouldn't have happened 4 years ago. Mertland, once a rival, always a rival. That's why I never root for Stockport. Don't care who they're playing, and I get it. Yeah, that's where I sit. Like, if Jody Jones was to move to any other team, I'm not going to like them either. That guy just the most impressive flopping ever seen. Wigan about 8 yards away from goal here, going to get a throw in. Short. Santos heads it back. Another whistle. I didn't see the foul there. If I did see a foul, I thought it was on Santos going the other way. And now Baxter hits the ground. for no reason. The
Were you
keeper.
expecting they were going to be near the top of the league? They're only in ninth, Notts County.
Sorry, Bolton?
Notts. You were talking about.
To be fair, I don't know what the turnover was in the league, in the teams that were around them. I thought if you had the same school of thought that you did with Charlton last year, and you look at Doncaster, I thought that they would be near the top. I think the bigger surprise is, to me, I didn't necessarily see Morecambe having a bad season this time and being down near the bottom. Chesterfield, you know what it's like, National League teams going up, right? And so they're going to be in the mix. Port Vale, I'm surprised that they were up there. You see teams come down, and usually they struggle for one or two. They don't. The bounce down, bounce back, I think, is less frequent than the back to back up, which is an interesting question, and one now that I want to look into. Is what we're waiting. By the way, keeper's down, just went down for no reason, just sat down, no contact, and he looks like he's struggling a bit. So, but he's going to stay in. Seems to be moving around. I'm curious as to what the frequency is of teams that go down in competition, get relegated, and come back up the following year versus the back-to-back, because it just seems to me from my recollection and following more in the last 6 years or so that it's the teams that go down tend to set mid-table before they start to make their push. Here's the thing with League Two. I don't think, like Notts, Chesterfield, the Dons, Wimbledon, that all makes sense. Grimsby Town, that's a bit of a surprise for me. The biggest surprise for me is Bradford sitting in the middle again. Like, the Chickens have this massive stadium. They've got money. There's no reason why Bradford City just can't get it done.
All saw was a little bit. I mean, they're at the top there. It's kind of a little surprising.
Yeah, I'd take that as a surprise. They looked good when we played them last year, but didn't get results.
Right. Yeah.
But I'm hoping those are all names that I don't have to worry about until they come up in a nice FA Cup and another yellow card. And the man, if I could read lips, because they've got a nice close up through the net, and they've got all the Bolton Wanderer fans all standing and swearing and screaming, and I didn't see why that yellow card was given. Oh, you know what? I think it was the little extra toss at the end. He was just into a battle with Adiko over towards the goal line, moving towards the corner. And when I say a battle, Adiko's trying to hold him up so that the ball can go out for a goal kick, and Thompson's trying to get around him. And then the ball goes out of play, and you get the last little right push. And here comes Bolton into the 18-yard box. Opportunity, right-footed, and then he holds it up, tries to get it over to McAtee, doesn't go. And then I don't know what that was. Did that deflect out, or did that just get punted out? What? That was a kick straight out. Is that from Matete? They've got the zoom in on him. I'm not lying to you when I say this. He's standing 20 yards out in front of the box. It comes off of McAtee and lays on the deck. Matete goes up, and if whoever it was that struck it goes up and hammers the ball with their right foot, and it goes at an 80-degree angle straight out and out of play to this touch line, to the sideline from the 18-yard box. You couldn't replicate that from that swing again, and that was Matete. Bench the kid. I don't know. I thought it had to have deflected off of somebody. Like, he must have taken the shot and it bounced straight off of somebody's leg out. But the referees end up pointing. The laws of physics belie how that happened. Crazy. 6.2 on FOTMob. Second lowest on the team. Oh, other than Baxter, the keeper, who, to be fair, deserves that after the horrible attempt at stopping that first goal. The interesting stat, I don't know if you've seen the Who Are You? It's there. If instead of listening to me and my ugly mug, if you wanted to get that one up during the game, as Taylor dances around his man and gets across far post for Wigan, bounces around, knocked down, 18-yard box. There's the right-footed, and it's hammered and blocked away. Ooh, as Jones sneaks in front of that offering. is that on Adiko again, or was that Sessegnon who came up? As Taylor gets the cross forward, it gets knocked down by a Wigan player. Osei Tutu knocks it down and basically serves it up for Wigan to have the opportunity, and an impressive block, a necessary block that was going to go in. There's no way Baxter was stopping that. It was low, it was hard, it was to the right-hand side, and fortunately the block happened. If you're a Wanderers fan, fortunately, anyways. I was talking about something I learned, not only the stats of the referee, Mr. Oldham again. What was it? I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget. 1 win, 0 draws, and 6 losses in our history with Scott Oldham as the referee. The worst ratio in the league, but the second the worst ratio of any player record of any team that's got games, more than 6 games with Oldham as the referee. The interesting part is for Cambridge United, second worst schedule or worst record: 1 win, 1 draw, 5 losses. Man, Wigan just another level, just completely pushed it past the Johnston, goes on the run, gets it out, drawn over, Asgard, front of the box, opportunities abundant, passing all over, and Bolton, like looking like a foosball table, just standing there watching Thomas into the area. That's a big save by, and then the rebound stop, massive save, massive stop on the second effort as Baxter makes up for the first miss save. Man, pass here, pass there, flick over to Thomas, cross all the way in. Asgard gets the header. Baxter far reaching out, left arm stop, knocks down, and Adiko's there to try and get the extra touch. And he whiffed on the first one, and the second one gets stopped by Baxter, who stands up and looks like he stops those all the time. Good morning, Marie. How are ya? Yeah, the ref status was crazy. That's why when I saw it, I was like, that's just weird. But as soon as I saw the name, I saw Oldham, and you don't remember everything. But I was like, that's a name I don't like, and I can't remember why. And I thought, was that a red card? Was that something that happened? It wasn't for an event. It's just the fact that we don't play well in front of them. Barrow being the only win we've had in the last 4 years where he's been an official. Wow. This has been lopsided, this one, and surprisingly so. And if you're Ian Evatt and you're going into the halftime, enthusiasm, the word of the day. Quick throw in, Wigan around the net again. And that was a missed strike, and so they've given it away. Baxter's going to collect it for a goal kick going the other way. The fans on to Baxter for not playing it fast enough. Oh, and the color commentator starting to get a little negative here. We're taking an absolute age to do anything. Anything. The crowd turning onto the Wanderers. You can hear the heckling in the back. Like, you have to love a derby, right? The accent on the Bolton Wanderers. He sounds like he's got some. He's been living in England for a while, but he came from Scotland. It's not the one of the standard English accents that I'm used to. You're curious to look him up. Sounds absolutely brilliant as he's talking about driving on the ball. What am I doing with my life, Brendan? What are we up at? 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the morning for you, 5 o'clock, watching two teams we don't really give a hoot about? Play through the midfield.
My friend roped me into it.
Is that how you? Did I ever get your genesis for it? Is your friend still a fan?
No, I meant you. You told me
this.
I was like, all right, I'm gonna.
I don't even have I even asked you your genesis story as to how you ended up finding Wrexham and
Yeah,
You
you did,
remember?
right? The first time I ever hopped on. Yeah.
Yeah, I may have forgotten it. I'll
I think
blame
same
it.
as the majority of other people, right? Just coming across the documentary and deciding to check out a game. And actually, I couldn't find any of the games when I searched online. The only thing I found was you. And then I watched you and thought, hey, this is kind of cool. And, the chat was super friendly. Everyone was so nice. I
I didn't
didn't,
really. I thought you had a taste before you got pulled in, but that's that's cool.
yeah. I had jumped on YouTube streams before and other things. I started doing the watch along. There was another guy doing a watch along that I think he's like a West Brom fan or something. And he was decent, but I liked yours much better. And I don't know, I was always intimidated to jump in the chat, strange as it sounds. Didn't know if I was saying something stupid or
Yeah.
what you're supposed to do in the chat and how what's taking place. So we're just trying to figure the whole thing out. And but it was really, really chill and welcoming. So
Cool. It just got highlighted there from Marie that the score didn't get bumped up on the scoreboard there. Wigan's up 1-0. It's early in the morning, Marie. We're still getting started. Mertlin, sorry if you guys missed the goal. There was a goal earlier, and Mertlin, I think you were with me, but Marie, I think, joined late and is just identifying that the score is 1-0. It was a horrible misplay by Baxter.
is it halftime yet? It's got to be close, right?
2 minutes of out of time, and we're going to get another 20 seconds in here before the whistle blows. Bolton with some pace there, and the fans actually applauding the fact that he threw the ball in. That's how poor. It's the Bolton effort's not there, and that's why they're being derided by their fans. Then the pass comes back and almost gets kicked right out of play, and Wigan turns it over and they blow it down. Like the boos. Oh, that is one of the loudest sets of boos. I think that's certainly in any watch along I've done, the loudest I've heard a home crowd boo their team getting off the pitch. But it's deserved. Bolton, and especially Matete, have been horrible and lazy. It's like they can't blame the Thanksgiving dinner on this one. I don't think it's no effort, and even the opportunities where they, the cheeky little plays where you're trying to get in a quick pass or you try and start a free kick to catch people off guard. None of that happening. It's just been slow and methodical, almost as though Bolton was winning. Right? You look at the stats in this one just really quick. I'll run through those ones just so that you can see them. The expected goals 1.03 xG for Bolton with 53% possession, one shot on target with their one goal, and the passing 101 to only 185 passes between both teams. Yikes. The Aston Villa guy?
There's a guy from Aston Villa that does watch alongs. He used to occasionally do
Wrexham stuff, and then
yeah,
and I think he stopped because was he also doing vlogs?
Yeah, he's doing a lot of things. Yeah,
and I think he stopped the Wrexham coverage when they sent him the cease and desist letter regarding the vlogs. If I think that's the same guy, maybe. Anyway, total shots 6, total off target 2, on target 3, and 1 blocked. That block being one that would have gone in. Look, it's a derby match, and you have one team who's fired up and ready to go, and the other team who's still laying in bed and didn't realize that the game kickoff started at 12:30, and they're still banging the cobwebs out. They just haven't got started. Lots of opportunities. I think that the score, you could say it should be 2-0, maybe even 3, certainly till 2-0. The goal that was scored, of the opportunities that they've had, was probably one of the worst ones for trying to, like, if you would have said these are going to be the opportunities you're going to get, that's the one that probably would have been stopped. But Nutmeg's a mishit, left-footed strike through the legs of a defender, Johnston, and it just sort of rolls into the far corner. And I don't know if the deflection off of the Nutmeg threw the keeper off, but it was I would have expected more. Maybe that's us just being spoiled. Did you see? That's the other stat that I was looking at. Have you looked at the team save percentage averages for the year, like the team save percentage for the year, and where Wrexham sits compared to everybody?
Save percentage? No.
It's like, I knew that we were at the top because I put it into the graphic every week, is that we're in the top. I didn't realize how far we're in the top. Wrexham presently sits at 86.1% save percentage. Like, in football, that's mad. Over 70 is good. Over 80 is exceptional. To be at 86.1, to put it into perspective, the second best team is Exeter City, and they're at 77.6%. We're 8.5% higher than second overall in the league. And there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams that are 70% or higher.
Do you know how they calculate that? And what I mean by that is, does it have to be on net? Like when someone kicks it and it goes a foot wide,
it's shots on target. It's saves
target
versus shots on target.
So does that count defenders blocking stuff?
No. So if it's defenders blocking, if it's and I don't think they count woodwork. Like in hockey, you don't count it if it hits the post or they don't say that. They say that's not on net.
You're saying that's just the keepers.
That's just it. That's
hands they touch, balls they touch with their hands.
Balls they've touched.
Wow.
Like in hockey, you're looking at the metric is 900. Above 900 is kind of the expectation. 910 is really good. 920 is, and when I say 920, I mean 92% or 0.920 is really good. In football, you look at season after season, the top goalkeepers are always usually in the mid to high 70s. To sit at 86.1% is godlike. And to be set 8.5 points clear, and as Ruth identifies, that's with 4 different keepers. To put it even more into perspective, and that's 72 shots on target against, and with 62 saves. A goals against per 90 of 0.58, which that's a team stat. But you look at save percentage and you go down to the bottom of the table, Blackpool, worst team in the league. What do you think their save percentage is if you haven't looked? Worst team. So best is 86.1%. You'd expect, and I've given you kind of good as 70%. Bottom of the table, what do you think is the range for a really bad year?
I don't know, 55, 60%?
Exactly 55. 55.1% for Blackpool. 3 teams below 60%. Like, that's nuts. 38 saves on 69 shots on target compared to 62 saves on 72 shots on target. Like, I'm sorry for Blackpool, you're not a goalkeeper. You're a goal judge. You're only just telling you how the goal went in.
And occasionally it goes off you.
Yeah.
Otherwise it's in.
I'm sorry. You see stats of 55.1%, and I don't mean to be disparaging as to keepers and their job, but I think I could be a professional goalkeeper in League One if that's what would be the expectation. And I'm just looking how many times. I bet you they've swapped their goalkeeper like 2 or 3 times. Harry Tyler's played 10 games, 55.2%. Richard O'Donnell has played 6 games, 58.1% save percentage. And Daniel Grimshaw has played 2 games, 44.4%. He has allowed more goals, 5, than he's made saves, 4.
The only thing I could think is if they just commit way too many guys on, set pieces and pushing ahead, and
sure, and styles matter.
Breakaways, and you're one-on-one with the keeper, and the keeper's like, well, I got to come way out and just hope for the best that I get you to miss it wide, because if I wait for you, it's just a goal. So
sure, styles matter. The quality of your center backs in front of you matter. I can think that would justify a potential 10% swing one way or the other.
So, well, a couple of interesting things. I could see that maybe it's not that weird to have 4 keepers with wins because say your team's not doing that great and you end up cycling through, like you have 2 keepers who are just not off, and then you're like, forget this. I'll bring on the 3rd keeper. You get rid of one at the January break. You try to bring in a new guy. So maybe you end up somehow there's a bunch of teams that probably aren't doing that well that have 4 keepers with wins. But we have 4 keepers with wins with shutouts, and we're near the top of the.
It's crazy. Like when you go back and you look at this year, we can definitely say, because Wrexham hasn't been scoring of late, and if it not for the keepers, we're having very different conversations about this year, because we're talking about how the Marriott's injury and how it's ruined things, and Mullen not figuring it out, and we're desperate for goals, and the strike force is not scoring, and oh my God, the sky is falling. Even if we're at 70% save percentage, that's if you're gonna say that there's 5 shots on target per game, 4 shots on target a game, that's an extra goal every four games. That's in these circumstances, it's a tie here, it's a tie there. We're not near the top of the table. We're down sitting in 8th, 9th if the goalkeeping is not where it's at.
Yeah.
And hard to not recognize that. I'm going to run downstairs because I'm going to need what do I call it? My Nicorettes before the second half kicks off. And so if you join in and you haven't been here, we're just getting started. We're sitting at the half of the Bolton Wigan game, and I will be right back. And I'll leave it, Brendan, if you want to fill in until the game gets back on.
Sure. I was going to go to YouTube and bring up our owner at a local pub last night in Wrexham. See if I can find it. Was that something that Rob Ryan Red posted, I think? Let me see. Yeah. Figures it was up earlier, and then I watched it, then it disappears, and it's hard to find. But I saw him buy the bar a set of drinks last night. Let's see. Fat Boy, yes, Kim. Kim with all the answers. Why do I need a memory when Kim's here to save me?
Kim, did you just call Channing Tatum a fat boar? No, they're buying rounds at the Fat Boar, really. I'm sure there's not an increased amount of women who have shown up in the Fat Boar to have drinks, knowing that Channing Tatum is in Wrexham.
Yeah, Channing Tatum and Ryan Reynolds
in the same room in a northern Welsh town. People had that predicted 5 years ago, that's for sure.
Yeah, they're going to be like ladies' night there now. Like it's just going to be packed. An opportunity for them to show up.
And suddenly my wife takes an interest in Wrexham. If you're just joining, we're at the half. It has been a one-sided, lopsided affair. Wigan laying the boots, at least as far as effort. And that's for the Bolton fans who were screaming. The boos were raining down on the Wanderers players as they were leaving the pitch. It's just no bite in it. They're supporting a team that just did not show up in the first half. And they've got this Otete character who's almost like he's a spy working against their interests. Santos hasn't been great.
You said, do I have a player? And I think I think I've told you before. I think Poku is head and shoulders above just about everybody in the league.
Okay.
I know people say Stansfield. I didn't see a ton of magic with him. Not that I'm discounting that he is the great player that people say he is. I just haven't seen it. I have seen some magic from Alfie May. I think he's very impressive. But I haven't seen anyone dazzle footwork wise with the ball more than Poku so far. And I don't know that I've seen as much football as some people, probably watching all sorts of extra games. But I've watched a hand. I've watched him a couple times, and we've watched these other teams. We've watched everyone in our league meet just about outside of a Wrexham game, so we've seen some. But I don't know too many other guys that have really stood out. Even when we played Barry, he didn't jump off the page.
Yeah. You're saying when we played Barry, like Stockport County, Louis Barry, that he didn't jump off the page?
Well, I didn't think he was, overly impressive when we played him. No,
I was impressed with him, but I haven't seen Poku enough to really be able to see. But maybe it's just the fear of me that I've seen Louis Barry break us down over and over and over again.
Yeah,
so every time
I guess what I'm talking about is when you see Fletcher take a hard cross at a weird height.
Yeah.
And he does, and this is zero panic, hits it, drops to his foot, and he turns and puts it someplace. And you're just like, I don't see anybody else just that perfect, that smooth, that totally in control. When they hit the ball at him, he just handles it,
Yeah.
So that kind of quality, I don't see a lot in the league often enough. So
I will take it. It's interesting. We're getting close. The players are out there getting ready and walking about as we've just been staring at the same two Wigan athletic supporters, two kids having fun, booing as the Bolton Wanderers fans come out, probably joining the home side on that one. Did you see, Brendan, as far as the Players of the Month and Manager of the Month nominees that came out officially from the EFL?
I had heard we got Parkey and Clearworth in there, right?
Yeah. So, and it's interesting because on that list, Louis Barry for Stockport County, Joe Lowe with Wickham, who I don't recall from the Wickham game, but 22 years of age, so a young player there, and then Harvey Nibbs, Reading striker, who we have seen Nibbs, and haven't been impressed, but obviously doing something in the games that we're not watching because we've seen Reading 2 or 3 times.
Yes,
and Nibbs, I never did anything. They've lined up for an onside kick, and the broadcasters are talking about it as well. They've got like 8 players over to the right here. We're just about to get kickoff. They're all at the far post. It's brought all the way back, and they busted across the halfway line, and here goes the long kick down the pitch. I've never seen that. And then the broadcaster was like, "Well, this is interesting," which is what drew my attention to it. But that's literally, it was kind of, they lined up to take an onside kick, brought it back, and punted it down the length of the field to allow everybody to go to run onto the ball.
Wigan did that, or Bolton?
Bolton did it.
Wow. Trying to wake the guys up, I guess.
You know what? Not a bad strategy. Let's go with a set piece because off of the halftime restart, because you guys are sleeping and get your legs running. That's it. You just had everybody but one player. The one player got the ball, and it's into the area. It's into the box. Bolton coming back and massive stop early. And maybe it worked. As that was a thing. And Bolton has been so poor that the fact that they did a thing there is impressive. As that was that Matete or no? That was Osututu, left-footed, and Tickle had to make a decent stop. It was on the short side, so not a lot of room. He just had to kind of put his hands up. But a shot on goal is a novel thing for a team that didn't get it. Maybe give some kudos to Mr. Evett for lining things up with a play. Never seen it. I've never seen that before. I've never seen that before, but I like it. Deadpool and the Gambit together. Did you watch Deadpool and Wolverine?
I did, yes.
What was your take on it?
I thought there was going to be maybe too much, cameos. I heard it, it was kind of going to be one of those movies.
Yeah.
I thought it was good. It was good. The problem is if I go in with a lot of high expectations and a lot of people liking and talk about it, then a little rougher on it, and I think I was. Also, like I've watched the two previous, so his character, there's not exactly an arc or anything happening here, right? Like he's the same thing still, same jokes, still very funny, just not, they don't hit as shockingly as the first time you saw that kind of character on the screen. So I maybe 7 out of 10, something like that.
That's where I was, 6 or 7 out of 10. And I was like the same thing. I heard so much amazing stuff. Oh, two defenders. How was that offside? It came back off of a Bolton foot. Hey, interesting. That was a misplay by Bolton, and it almost freed up a Wigan player but the flag goes up. Is it that ma and pa defense between two defenders, and it was just grabbed by Taylor, and they said offside, but I don't think it was. But in any event, I'm with you. Whether it was too many positive things were said, that I was expecting this to be like some world-ending masterpiece that I was going to completely shock and awe me, and it wasn't. I enjoyed it. It was worth it. As far as the time, I didn't feel like I was walking away, but I wasn't that impressed with it. I think it was the worst of the three. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm being mean. As a player just goes down completely away from the play into the box, grabbing his head and the back of his leg. He doesn't even know it hurts. A flop. Did he hurt himself? Whoa, that's got to be a yellow. That was just a free kick. Just a straight shove in the back. Smith maybe overindulged on the dive, and so the referee didn't give the card. It's been physical, and especially, again, to start this half, as that's Charles, who went down completely away from the ball for no reason, and he may have done something to his left leg. He still hasn't entered a run. He is walking on his own accord as Thomas. Thomas is down now, left ankle. Oh, yeah, he's put his hand up right away and said, no. Okay.
Good morning there, Swirly. Nice to see you.
Swirly. Wigan only has 16 goals this year. Bolton has twice as many. This game doesn't make any sense. And Kim, I'm assuming you're watching on Sky. Tell me if my summary is wrong. Like, Bolton just looks atrocious, like absolute garbage. And it's not the efforts there, and they're just not connecting. Like it is literally somebody needed to tell them they had to wake up, and they just haven't. Like, nothing crisp. And even their center backs, like, they're so close they could almost hold each other's hands, and they're coming back and they slow misplayed pass before they are able to get it up to Shaun. Shaun, switch of play, trying to get it across, just easily headed down by Lactics, and now it's a scramble in the midfield. Asgard trying to get to it. Santos trying to get to it. He does get it around Asgard, and now he's got some space. Bolton looking to do a thing. 18-yard box, opportunity, and pulled down. Anything? I'd like to see the replay. That was close. Decision would have been there. It was in just across the 18-yard box, and did he go down early? I'm a neutral. I wouldn't have given it. But the question was certainly there to be asked. It was enough to immediately have me look at the official to see if he was going to end up pointing the spot, and I could hear a whistle. And if that was a Wrexham game and it was us, I'd be screaming for a penalty. And if it was against us, I'd probably be like, oh my God, please don't.
You know what I'd love to see is consistency there on those in the box fouls. I would never give any foul if the guy went with the foul and enhanced it. Like
this was enhanced.
Yeah.
So they just showed the replay. There was contact. Asgard reached over in front of McAtee with his right leg. Their thighs collided. Like, and when I say collided, not for like more than a touch, less than a collision, right? So there was a little bit of contact, and McAtee went down as like as though he'd been thumped
No,
into
no.
really hard.
There's 0 drawing fouls in there as far as I'm concerned. If a
He
foul
dove.
is a foul, then fine. Otherwise, no.
He dove so artistically that he spun himself around in a 90-degree angle and was sliding away from the play while facing the ball where he was. Like that was how artistic it was. Bolton, with another opportunity forward, there is more into the game now than there has been because Bolton is now doing things. It is brought back. It says there. Oh, amazing block. That was by Smith, who saved a goal for Wigan. It was there. It got punted. It flipped up in the air, and Smith able to free it. It's still Bolton. As all of a sudden they've said they've gone from 0 to 100, just swarming right now, up in the air. Lactic's kicking it up in the air again. Smith, he's not able to get control of it. Swarmed by Bolton, and he's going to get a throw in. And if you're Wigan, you're like, can we slow this down? Whoa. I want to see this stop. I'll say
Parky F-bomb speech at half.
Had to have been. Oh, that was earmarked for the top corner from Shaun. Smith saved that goal. Like you can see it. Osei Tutu brings it, draws it back. I'm less certain now when I saw that one whether did Smith get to that before it went up in the air? It wasn't a block. It was kind of, or was it just a whiff? Anyway, it's God. I would be bipolar if is this what Bolton's been like all year? Hot and cold. Because I couldn't handle this. Like right now, they look like world beaters, and in the first half, they looked like a Sunday league team who just had their Christmas dinner and drinks and Wigan Athletic into the box. The opportunity there, shot. Johnston blocked, bounces back to him, and he's going to clear it. 54 minutes have passed in this one. 54:05 now, and it's bounced around the midfield. And a lazy pass back, and Tickle has to come out and play that one, and he knocks it down the field for Santos to collect. And he just misses everybody on the pass, and he's getting stick from his teammates to slow it down. He was clearly offside. He was running backwards, and Santos leads him the ball, so he can't touch it. So he's like, why are you passing it to me? Championship, W&G with the update. Coventry 1-1 after a goal with Hull. Hull, who just took Reading's management team, if I recall correctly. And that one going up to Asgard, Santos has to clear it away. And there's Thomas, who since he's been down, Thomas has been into it. He's been holding things on the left-hand side, nicking ball, managing the game. And since he's gone down about 7 minutes ago, that's also when the game switched.
So out of Bolton's last 5 games, 4 wins, 1 tie. And that draw was to Cambridge United, who we played.
Yeah. That Cambridge is not predictable right now, and of course our luck is you get a bottom feeder team when they're actually getting points. Swirly asked the question: do Canadians do Thanksgiving? We do. Obviously, we have winter come early here, so our Thanksgiving is a month ahead of our American brethren. So we have ours in early October, mid-October before Halloween. Into the box, Shaun with an opportunity, and he gets knocked down, but it wasn't a foul. It was a battle for the ball, and he goes to ground, and it just gets cleared out. But this is the momentum meter. If I'm scrolling up to it, is going to be all gold on one side and all blue on the other, and it is. The first half, there's like 4 little blips of Bolton in momentum and deep valley of gold, and now the first half there hasn't been a blip of gold yet. It is all blue all the time, and they've got the ball again with more pressure. Can Wigan hold on for another 40 minutes? Is that what this is going to be? They're still moving forward here. Here comes Wigan now. Smith running the entire length down the right-hand side. The Turkeys would escape. I kind of like it because I feel like having Veterans Day or Remembrance Day, whatever, on November 11th. Is that a stat? Is that a bank holiday? A stat holiday, whatever it's called in the U.S., Brandon?
Well, which day?
Work. November 11th, Veterans Day, Remembrance Day.
Yeah, sometimes it all depends on the state, but mostly yes.
Mostly yes. So because that's a stat here, and then you have Thanksgiving, and I like having our October stat because then you get 2 in November. I'll just be critical of everything Americans do. They do it wrong. They vote for the wrong guys. Or girls, or I guess that haven't voted in a girl yet, but we'll see. It was interesting watching our conservative premier taking shots at Trump because he doesn't mince words either, threatening to shut off energy, which could affect you, Brendan. Massachusetts, New York, across, it's there, it's bouncing around in the 6-yard box, and then just gets cleared away. It's down. Asgard, bullet stopped. Wow, that was a bullet, and it's up in the air again, and headed down offside. They're going to blow it down, but Baxter got called on about 2-3 times. For the leaders, the provincial premiers, which is the equivalent to the state governor, met with the federal leader who's on the left to talk about what to do with the upcoming tariffs and everything that are coming when Trump gets in, that have already been announced at like 25%. And how is Canada going to respond? And the left is, we're going to talk them out of it. We're going to be committed to demonstrating that we're good neighbors. Very soft approach. And the premier of Ontario, the largest state, that's basically like the California governor, come out and be like, we're shutting down your power, as Bolton gets an opportunity. Massachusetts, Wisconsin, Michigan, no energy from us. And I was like, well, that'll be an interesting decision. We'll see how that goes.
Did you see all the taunting? He said, well, if you guys can't handle the tariffs, then we can just annex you. You can you can be the 51st state. You can turn into Governor Trudeau if you'd like.
And the taunting and the entertainment, but there's always a little bit of truth to stuff like that. And we're still, I mean, it has been 212 years since it happened, but we don't forget in Canada that the U.S. attacked us. The U.S. attacked us back in 1812. And as much as both sides sort of, for the U.S., that's the birth of the anthem is from that war, the battle back, because the Brits pushed the U.S. all the way down to the mouth of New Orleans, right before the turnaround happened.
Yeah, they burned the White House down,
and that's what we always say. I saw one TikTok person say, "Okay, U.S., you're going to come at us. What color do you want us to paint your White House this time?" And I was like, "Really? Let's." You know, I got a chuckle out of Donald Trump, and I've turned all political for this channel, but it's fascinating to talk about. He put tweeted or in True North, he posted about "Oh Canada" and his little governor stance, and he took an AI photo of him looking at a mountain with the Canadian flag, but it was the Matterhorn in Switzerland, and we were like, "Dude is so dumb. He can't," or his team is so dumb. Or both are so dumb that they doesn't even recognize it's not Canada, or it was intentional just to rile us up. But there is some truth to it. I don't know what Trump will do this time, and I don't have faith in him. And that governor thing, I'm afraid there might be a little bit of truth. I have an exit strategy. Never in my life have I ever thought, if there was to be something from the U.S., where are we going? I have an exit strategy, and that's crazy. Lineups in 11 minutes.
So you're pretty close to that
Washington
island that was always in contention between the British and Americans out near Vancouver somewhere. Half the island was owned by the U.S. and half by
it's Britain. A peninsula. Port Roberts, is that what you're talking about?
Well, they got into some sort of fight because whoever the governor was on one side, his pig was slaughtered by someone from the other side, and then it essentially started a war, and they were going back and forth for a lot of years. They almost had another war 15, 20 years after 1812 that was over.
I thought that was closer to Minnesota.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Here, you guys.
And you can see when you follow along the 45th or the 49th parallel, and you get to there's like a weird jump up, Minnesota, Michigan into Canada, and I believe that's what captures that island. If I'm remembering right, in BC. Right. We just have Port Roberts, and that was BC was such an afterthought at the time. Back in 1812, we were just getting started as a location. When they drew the parallel, they just said that's what we'll do and we'll draw it, but they never looked at what the effect would be out in BC. So there's a small area of land, and it's probably 5 square miles. I'm assuming 6 square miles, and it's actually the U.S. and they're annexed from the U.S. It's like Alaska. It's like a mini Alaska. They have to go into Tawasin, BC, and around to get back into the U.S.
That's a funny spot there. Yeah, to go to school. They have to cross the border every day.
They have to cross the border twice to get to school every day. Yep. High school. They've got an elementary and a middle school in that little for like the 15 kids that sit there. Wasn't that an oversimplified video? Did you play one?
No, there's a video. There's a great website called Oversimplified. The cartoon version, 2-minute, blurb on wars and different things. That's pretty funny most of the time. Yeah,
I'm a fan of how Canada handles its disputes. I.e., they've got a dispute with Denmark over an island that they've been fighting over for 150 years.
Yeah,
but the way that they fight over it is they send their military over to kind of
that's up near Greenland, right?
But what they do is they basically go and put maple syrup or Canadian beer or Danish beer on the island, and then they leave. So they're just basically trading gifts back and forth between the military. That's Canada, like defined. Anyway, as far as the game's going on, just turning to that for the people who are trying to get an idea as to what's going on, things have settled into a midfield battle. And just as I say that, late call by the official. I don't like that because that was 23. Has there been a sub? There has been a sub. James Carragher, and I missed the sub in the 62nd minute, has come in.
2 subs at the 62nd minute.
Yeah, two for Bolton. Collins and Williams come in for Bolton. Carragher and Olakikbe come in for Wigan. James Carragher frees up the ball, and it was a little bit assertive, but I don't think it was a foul. But because it was such a quick turnover and went to Thomas on the left-hand side, and there was a clear advantage gained. That was one that the referee blew down the play because of the advantage gained, not because of the existence of the foul. My take on it. QPR scoring to go 1-1 with Bristol City. The one thing I will say that I really like about how Wigan covers this, and I think that they cover their own and it's not an eye follow thing, is they, in between the breaks, they constantly show images into the stands, close-ups of the fans. I'm trying to think of watching Wrexham games, how frequently in a non-televised game do we see close-ups of Wrexham fans? We're back into the crowd again to it's scouring through the fans. To me, it's been pretty infrequent. I don't recall it happening all the time. But I like being able to see because you get a sense as to how the crowd is reacting. There was an opportunity there. Smith with a bullet blocked down. Wigan with an opportunity comes out, 18-yard box pushed over to the area. It's going to be able to get collected by the sub, Olakikbe. No, and it goes out. Are there teams in League Two that you still hate? Like you talked about Notts County, but if you want to talk about teams that I hate, it's Tranmere.
Yeah, I didn't particularly like Bradford. Neither did you.
I hate how arrogant their fans are without reason. Like the whole we're big, and I'm like, you guys are in League Two with everybody else, and you've been here forever, and you can't find a way to win. Shut your lip until you're not special. But it was like the arrogant we're a special club. For what? We got the biggest stadium. Congratulations. It was like the member measuring party, and I found the arrogance without foundation. Oh, Asgard scores. That was a mistake by the Bolton defender. They had control inside the box. He turns away from the ball, and Asgard just basically takes it from him and plops it in the net. Easy as. It's 2-0. The Norwegian striker celebrating. And I'm sure the referees, as he's jumped over the hoarding, going to come over and be like, hey, bring it back. We're not going to fire up the crowd in a... Man, I want to see... Was that... Who dropped the ball there? Thomas gets it back. It's put into the area by Wigan, but it's knocked down and comfortably. Santos knocks it down. And okay, you know what? It wasn't so much it was a bad first touch by No, it was number 6, Johnston. He didn't have control of it. He went to go and knock it down with his left foot. I thought Asgard picked his pocket. That's not what happened. Johnson goes to knock it down with his left foot and just blows the clearance, trying to get control of it. And it just goes underneath his foot right to Asgard, who's standing 6 yards away from the goal with no defender around him. And Baxter probably swearing. And they show the exits, and there's people heading down the exits. Not many, just a couple.
Wow, that's super early.
Yeah, I don't know if they were just going to the washroom because it was only a couple, but that's what they zoomed in on was a couple people walking down.
Maybe they just need a couple more pints before they can watch the rest of this game.
Man, the Wigan fans in full voice and smiles, like this is like Christmas looking smiles from this Wigan supporter. He's just opened up the present he's always wanted. I want to know. I want to look up where this Bolton broadcaster is from and if he lives in Bolton now, because his accent is like no UK accent I've heard. It's like a hybrid, and I'm trying to figure out. Very poor. I'm trying to figure out what it is. It's like my wife who has been from South Yorkshire, but she's been in Canada for 15 years, and there's some things that she says that are. Unfortunately, a little Canadian. I haven't got her to say, damn right there, boy. Hey, bud. Gonna go for a rip. Put her into the rhubarb. That high, annoying.
Minnesota.
Yeah, it's like Minnesota accent on drugs is what it is. It's the Northern Alberta accent that it's starting to get more and more pronounced. Like they're becoming proud of it. They've taken it to another level. We don't have a lot of accents across the country. Newfoundland obviously has one, which is like a really, really butchered Irish. It's what you would expect an Irishman to sound like after 12 pints in a Dublin bar is a Newfie.
There's a good solid 8 at least accents in the US that are very distinct.
Yeah, we get word changes, but I like you get somebody from Nova Scotia or Ontario, usually very hard to distinguish between where they're from. Newfoundland, except vocabulary. Vocabulary will change. Like in Saskatchewan, the use of the word bunny hug. Nobody in the world knows what a bunny hug is except for those in Saskatchewan. It's a hoodie. But there's things like that that'll jump out that'll identify people. And you can always tell somebody from Saskatchewan because they pronounce it properly. Nobody else does. Oh God, Northern Alberta. I'm both a Newfie and a Northern Albertan. I'm screwed. I want to know what that hybrid looks like. You're gonna have to get on a video and put both of them on for me, because that is a combination. Santos with it. A kickabout for Bolton. Wigan, I wouldn't say they've parked the bus. Oh, the yellow card? Yeah. We just ran forward to go and try and get to the ball and just ended up stepping on the leg of a player. I wasn't... Ooh, orange. Yeah, he's maybe a little bit lucky. I mean, he didn't have the studs up, but I think he came in really late and just stepped right on top of... the Bolton player who's up and not injured. I think a red would have been harsh, but it was careless.
The lineup is out.
Sorry?
Cleworth, O'Connell, Barnett, Matty James, Dobson, Rathbone, McLean, Lee, and Palmer. Foster, Scar, Revan, Cannon, Mullen, Fall, and Fletcher on the bench.
That's a mistake. I am sorry, Parky. I don't like that. That's Northern Border says the same thing. You have a player who is your talisman. He's your guy. He's been your guy. He scores your goals and has historically. And he's going up against a team that he has familiarity with. They had a stand named after him. Lots of love for him. You give him an opportunity to burn his own club, to show off, to do his thing. That's mismanagement. Sorry, I'm calling it. You've got to put
Lee would have understood that if you benched Lee.
Oh, absolutely. It's Lee's a midfielder, and he's being asked to play in a role that he's not normally accustomed to. You give Mullen the opportunity to show off, to do his thing. We'll talk about that as we go through it. Bolton, opportunity, volley missed. Scooped wide, cross in right along the goal line. And I don't know, Tickle had a lot of coverage. There wasn't much there as far as goal to shoot at from that angle, but he missed it. You thought Rathbone sits, Lee slides back, Mullen comes forward, right? That's maybe what you were thinking. But as it is, Brunt, Cleworth, O'Connell, no surprise. Barnett, no surprise. McLean, no surprise, back from a suspension. Midfield, Matty James and Dobson, Rathbone. To me, that's no shock. The shock is, do you take Lee off? Bolton coming forward, 18-yard box, laid back out. Opportunity here for Bolton, stabbed forward, right-footed, and Asgard defensively. The forward comes all the way back and nicks the ball. Well done, young lad. Yeah, Dobson can play in the back where Matty James is now. Right, 18-yard box. Well, that was awkward. What? That's a free kick, and from the edge of the penalty area. They're trying to say it was in the box. It was not. And it was probably 2 feet out. But Adiko just jumped onto Charles's back, on McAtee's back, not once but twice, like literally almost into a piggyback position. And the first one you could go like, oh, maybe that was a mistake. He was just turning around and looking to try and head the ball, and he ended up getting towards his back, but he hits the ground and jumps up on his back again. Brunt, EOC, and Cleworth need a 3-piece statue if we go up. Yes?
That would be cool. Although I don't know if Brunt has earned it yet. Not that he, won't over time, but a lot of those wins and shutouts were with O'Connor. So
Shirley with the take, and I appreciate this. Disagrees with me, says Mullen needs to earn the start with merit, not by starting because he might score against his old club, where he'll have little effect on either Mulls or Cambridge.
Yeah, it's a fair point by Swirl.
Absolutely. I'm with you unless you take the stance that Rob Ryan Red and Fearless and Devotion have both taken recently, and that Mulls seems to be back. He doesn't have the goals, but as far as the questions as to what's going on with him, he's back. Bolton, by the way, going to take this shot. McAtee hammers it through the wall, and he missed the net. He was saying I think he missed everything. Yeah, he went to try and get through everybody, and Tickle was there anyway, but doesn't hit anything, and it goes off for a goal kick. Nothing from McAtee from right in front. You're 19 yards out. Middle of the pitch, you got 6-7 people in a wall in front of you. You can go through, left, right, do something, get it on net. He hammers it and misses the net entirely. So their take is if Mullen's back and that he's looking like his regular self, and it's just that he hasn't scored despite everything he gives you. They say that goal from the last game with the assist from Mullen was evidence that he's starting to feel it and he's getting going. And if you agree with that, then on merit he has earned his spot. And this is the opportunity for him to open up.
If he made that goal last week, that sitter,
the header, yeah,
the sitter that
sitter that he banged into the middle of him, yeah.
That the guy flipped, did you dive left and you throw your feet out to the right.
Oh, that one. Yes. And
it goes off the guy's boot, the keeper's boot somehow. Then I think you could have made a case for it, but you almost have a better case for Swirly saying, look, if you can't even make that, you certainly didn't earn it back on, right? Like, that pass was perfect. There's no way the keeper should save that. And, you can't miss that. So
Lakelco, the lineup's out and he's not starting. That's why we're talking about it. It's Mullen, Fall, Fletcher on the bench with Cannon, Revin, Scar, and Foster. That's it. Chomp always been like he's like a folk hero, right? If there is another one that you can talk about, right idea, wrong idea, and I get Brad Foster, all the talent, young, it looked very good in a trophy match. Was there any discussion you think between the Parkin as to whether to go Foster or Howard?
There shouldn't be.
Yeah, you think I'm despite the fact that he always gets wins, Howard does, because he just does. He just always seems to the team finds a way, he finds a way. It doesn't always have to be the prettiest stuff. I still think as keepers go that he's not the best option. There's Bolton in the 18-yard box, nice little touch, and that is shockingly poor from Collins. Brilliant pass from, I think that's Santos, the defender, all the way forward. One touch, not offside. Gorgeous pass. You're 15 yards away is Collins, and he misses everything. And just Bolton looked like garbage for a half, and now they just can't seem to do anything around the net. It's been mistouch, and that one skied to the moon over top of Tickle and everything. Are we another 4 weeks out for...
Yeah,
I've heard 2 weeks, and then I've heard 4 weeks, and I think it's 4 weeks again.
Yeah, I agree. We won't see him till somewhere in second week of January if we're lucky.
Yeah, I'm hoping that he gets a fair, healthy amount of minutes. Like certainly, he'll come in the 65th. I'd argue he should come in irrespective of what's happening with the score, maybe a little bit early.
So Howard Foster,
yeah.
There was something that we didn't talk about that I saw and I wanted to bring up we didn't have time. So there was there were two things. Like a minute or two into the game, the ball comes to Foster, he picks it up, and Scar is telling him to give me the ball. And Foster looks at him and waves him off. And then thinks about doing something else, and Scar's still yelling at him. And then Scar goes, fine, don't give it to me. And he points out to Brunt or somebody else. And then Foster hits it out to him. And I was like, I don't know if I like that he's, like, you want your goalie to kind of be in charge back there, but you just got onto the team and you're telling someone like Scar, who you have to, show some respect to, you're saying no to him. And then what was it, like 20 minutes later, he doesn't even bend over to stop a strong kick into the box. He just stops it with his foot.
But that was an interesting save. As far as elections go,
I like confidence, but that was bordering on too cocky. And I'm like, I'm a little worried. Like, you have to earn that. You don't start at that level, right? You have nowhere to go now. Like,
the stream out of the stadium has begun, by the way. The Bolton fans, 80th minute, and they're walking out. They just had a header, and they had Ian Levitt, the Bolton manager, in the background, headed straight out of play by Bolton, like just completely misplayed the ball and headed it out. And Levitt just rolls his eyes, and you can see it and walks away in disgust. There's a lot of anger and frustration, which I could understand if we were to be playing in a derby game and this was the performance that we saw was laziness for half of the game and incompetence for the other. I'd be a little bit disappointed.
Yeah, so get back to the keeper.
Yeah.
You know what you have in Howard.
There is that.
It was quite, he was ridiculously solid. He had 2 brain farts, a year and a half, 2 years ago, and people don't seem to want to let him forget those, those 2 mistakes. And other than that, like, yeah, he may not be able to get to everything, certainly that Alconquo can get to and stuff like that. But he's a smart keeper. He's always in position. And like I said, no one is a better kicker
Than he is. Yeah.
So of the ball. So I don't know. He's pretty damn solid. He's not going to lose a game for you. You'd have to get a lot of shots and a lot of great pinpoint shots that would be hard for any keeper, and he'll miss those.
He's certainly found a way to win, and I can't take that away from him. As to keepers, I was impressed with that Foster kid and what he did. Oh, that's got to be a yellow. He playing advantage. You got to blow it down and give a yellow. Did you not see him grab his ankles as he got past? So the defender and I. Oh, sir, you saw that. That's Johnston. So Johnston, for the second time, the goal that Asgard scored was because of a mistouch. Here he has a mistouch again. Wigan player grabs it and is blowing him away because he's stopped because he misplayed the ball. And Johnston dives, gets the arms out, collides into him and hauls him to the ground. And the referee just gives a free kick. Fascinating. I think, and I didn't talk about Kim's comment here. This is my summary. I think that's what I would say about Lee being in lineup. Elliot Lee starting again, good, I guess. And yeah, the stream to the exits are full on, and with the dismay and shaking of heads, throwing in sullen for a couple.
Well, let's go there because I'd be curious. Because we're not sure if she's being somewhat sarcastic or not. The success with this lineup, I think, has less to do with the Lee Palmer combination of Lee and more of Palmer and, say, Matty James and being in the position he is, where Dobson, as active as he is, him and Rathbone now in form, those two flying around causing
havoc. Yeah.
They're causing so much attention in the middle, whether or not other teams don't seem to understand they're not much of a threat, but they're just disruptive. And Ollie Palmer is working his ass off, which, he seemed to have taken a year break. And now he's working really hard all the time. Lee's the least impressive out of all of those changes. He just happens to be like the system that's currently functional to me. Not that Lee's not a good player, not that I don't want him on the pitch. It's just that he's not the one driving this bus at the moment for me.
Yeah, no, I get it. Do not disagree. I'm just looking for. I wanted to grab the link and put it in the chat to look to pin this. So I'll leave that there for when it is time to jump over, because we're at the 85th minute. We've got we'll take time to get coffee at the end of this one and talk a little bit about this, but mostly warm up where we're at with this one. I haven't looked at the Cambridge United lineup yet, too, and I'm intrigued because if you watch the Who Are You series, the one that I did for Cambridge, it was the toughest one I had to try and figure out who's going to be doing things, because they've got suspensions and injuries and young players sliding in. And to be fair, it's almost like the being forced to play the younger players has done something for the club. They found something, I guess you could say. But I think
we didn't pick the Leighton Orient game. Is what WNG's saying.
How sad is it that we don't even want? I wouldn't pay to watch it. I probably wouldn't watch it free. That's how
I wanted to fall asleep, maybe.
Yeah. So there, I've pinned that into the chat. So when it's time to go, everybody has the link. Is an opportunity there from Bolton, and it's 5 feet over top of the net, and there's a whole bunch of Bolton players holding onto their heads. Ian Evatt, we said earlier, is he going to lose his job? He's pulled them back up into the, closer into contention, but now they're struggling. The thing is I had them pegged as a team that could still get back into it. You look at where the table was, and they're sitting at seventh place, game in hand, opportunity to move on up. And they're now at 18 matches played. All the stream is just heavy now. And a dad holding on to the away section. I know where it is relative to that camera because they're all giving it to the. You're holding your daughter's hand and you're giving it to the away section, sir. Like, I get it. It's a different level. But I had them pegged as an opportunity to push away from Barnsley and sort of make it 7 teams near the top of the table. And Bolton says, you know what? We don't want that responsibility of being up there. 3 minutes left until we find out how much added time. I think it'll only be 2 or 3 minutes, as that one's headed forward by Wigan on an opportunity to try and.
And surprisingly, it's not raining in Wrexham. So used to seeing it raining over there lately.
Yeah.
Nice weather, it looks like. So
the UK winters are fascinating because when it's rainy and cold, the air is heavy. Like, that's the feel that you get. It's a murky, heavy wet. And I was like, well, is that coastal? And I was like, well, I'm coastal. Like, we live on the other ocean, but I'm coastal, and it just seemed to be like you're stuck in and held down by the weather itself. And I don't know if that was just.
You're like a couple of degrees warmer right now than Wrexham is. I have you at like 48-ish, and they're like 46. I'm at 28, and I'm further south than both of you.
We don't Massachusetts and the Atlantic. You guys get more snow. Like, we don't. We get snow once every 5 years, and it basically shuts down the city because nobody puts their winter tires on because nobody leaves the Lower Mainland.
Yeah.
Left-footed in-swinger, late opportunity for Bolton to look to do something, and the referee's going to blow it down and scold a couple of players in the box. McAtee being talked to.
We had back-to-back storms where it was over. It was well over 15 inches per storm in the same week. I think we got like 26 inches and 21, something like that, back-to-back within 5 days.
Now, you guys, and when you get it, you get it.
Yeah.
Dangerous. Looked almost like an Olympico attempt, but Tickle comes out and gets it. It's put back into the area, and Tickle jumps up and goes and collects it. Well done by Tickle, and that was a hard fall. I wouldn't be surprised if he needs a little sec. He's taken it. He took a shot on the right hip there. Confident collect, but his ball's in his hand. He just collided through. Kim, I'm with you to a certain extent. That how else do you voice your displeasure, though? You can't take your. I mean, we do this in hockey. People don't like it, but they'll throw their kit on the pitch or on the ice. Because I would say if that's the case, it's probably about 2/3 of the fans have left already.
Well, it's a big stadium too, but
yes,
it's been largely filled with a derby. So
200 days of fog here. One of the things that I didn't expect moving to the new house, and we've got this large green space area from an escarpment. So hundreds of years ago, it's leveled out, but there's like a hill and then a decline and then another flat area. And we're on the bottom of that hill, and it's all green trees, gorgeous pine. We're in an urban area, but all green space behind us. And watching the fog roll in through the hills and through the trees it's gorgeous almost every morning as far as the fog. So I'm okay with that. Holy Billy Joel Armstrong at the Turf, the best concert I've ever seen. 1996 Green Day on the Edgefest tour through Canada was amazing. And it was Billy Joel, and I'm not a Green Day fan, but I was like, dude, this guy deserves it because he put on a freaking show. And so 5 minutes is out of time.
In North America, they have halftime shows. Do you think that that's something that Wrexham would consider bringing in, or is it too much tradition?
Never. Yep. You never happen. I mean, you have people complaining about the COSM in England for ruining football. People, what was it, 5,700 miles away from the stadium, not able, and they're like, they're taken away from the game. You're supposed to go to the stadium. I was like, how are you getting people in California to go to the game? They're not taking tickets away from. like are taking revenue away. What the hell is going on? But there is it's almost like a perception that the beauty of football is also a little bit of squalor, and I don't understand it, but I know it exists. Is you have to embrace this pain, and that's part of football. And joy and happiness that you can get in halftime shows is away from the game. Horrible throw into Santos, and they almost given it away. Wow. Like Bolton just working against their own interests in so many ways. I'm going to be interested. I want to listen to a Bolton podcast when it comes out that does the summary of this game to see how they respond to this display. Because if this was Wrexham, I'm probably throwing and hitting things in my room. It is like, and even that, the cheeky little grab as he's going back and pulling a player down, like. Just didn't show up. It's a derby. You're in 7th spot. You're looking to climb the ladder, and your team, other than the first 10 minutes of the second half, when they started that odd play, the onside kick that I've never seen. Thogden and Thogdad would be so disappointed of today. I wish I knew who that was. That's got to be a UK reference that I simply don't get. The only danger that I think Vancouver has, I mean, when in the wintertime, we get rain. We have the same amount of rainfall as the UK gets, but we get double of it, 2 times as much in the winter and half of it in the summer as the UK. Like we double up. When you think it rains in the UK in winter, you have no idea. Like we will go 6 weeks in a row with constant rain, and it sucks. That's exactly it. If your club is slowly dying in a working class city, then your class. Somehow the club is supposed to achieve promotion with no money. Yeah, it's a fascinating. Wrexham's not doing it right. Not because, and people say, oh, it's all Hollywood money, but it's not. It's club money, but it's club money not through the traditional means of people paying their quid to go and watch a suffering team play in the lower division. And I don't get, why do you have to go through the pain? Leeds, late goal. Make it 1-1. 30 seconds left. We're going to jump probably straight over. What do you say, 6:30 to get it started? Give me time to go and grab another cup of coffee. Brendan, if you wanted to start up and do the intro in advance, you can do that. I will probably take the 7 minutes. Well, there's not much to talk about this one that hasn't already been said. Wigan showed up, and Bolton is still in bed. I wish, Brendan, you could have watched this only to see, as far as poor output, poor effort, this is any team in the National League, any game in League Two, any game we've seen so far in League One, this is the worst performance by a club as far as effort. Bolton didn't care in a derby game. Bolton didn't care. And the boos rained down. The whistle has blown. The game is over. If you're Wigan, you're going home with happy. You've won the derby. There's some pride and you've jumped up. How many points did they go from 20th to 12th? Is that what it was in the table? I mean, they still have to wait for results, but from 20th to 12th. And so there's bliss for Wigan and for Bolton fans. Yes, you got beat on the day, and Wigan deserves credit for it, but God, I would be so pissed. So pissed. Wigan fans are singing, hells yeah, full voice. But everybody also love it when Colchester goes up, right? Because they've earned it, they deserve it for whatever that's worth. It's part of the English tradition of sport and football fanery that I don't get. That you must suffer, and also that where do we belong? Right. Well, you have relegation and promotion for a reason. Where you belong is where you belong. The table will figure itself out. Oh man, they zooming in on the away fans. See, I want more of this. Can we talk to the operators? I think this game is on Sky. I'm assuming. Yes, has to be. And so we'll have to watch the Sky broadcast to see if it's just because of that purpose. But there are so many more fan shots of just absolutely jubilant standing and cheering Wigan fans in full voice, kids on shoulders. And it matters to them. And that's why it mattered to the Bolton fans too. And they just got an absolute crap show from their club. All right. The link for the Wrexham Cambridge game is in the chat. It's pinned to the top. Feel free to jump over there. You can always find it the other way. There's 27 of us watching. Let's shut her down. And I'm going to go refill my coffee and be back in 5 minutes or so.
All right. Yeah. I'll probably bring us up in about 2. So
perfect. I will